All the tools used in this and all of our videos are available at the Bow Tuning Tips online store. Be sure to check them out at bowtuningtips.com. Hey everybody, today we're going to be covering a topic that to me is about like covering religion and politics. I honestly don't like talking about it, and that topic's paper tuning. I know there's a lot of guys out there who paper tune their bow every year or every time they change their rest, and they feel like that is giving them the confidence they need and getting their bow as accurate as it can be. But here, I want to explain a few things to you today to kind of clarify why a person paper tunes a bow. Okay, not every single bow out there can be paper tuned. And I'm going to show you some types of bows today that do have to be paper tuned, and I'm also going to show you the types of bows that don't have to be paper tuned and explain why. This is a late 60s model Allen. It's made one of the very first compound bows that were ever invented. Horace Allen ended up inventing them, and this is one of the later ones. Honestly, it was like 64, I think, that the bow was compound came out, and this is like a late 60s. I don't know a specific year. There's none on the bow. I've had it for 30 years. I've had it seriously since probably like 82 or something, and maybe there's not 30 years, but it's a long time. Anyway, we're going to talk about why this bow is the type of bow that needs to be paper tuned, and I'm going to show you the differences between it and a bow that doesn't have to be paper tuned. This is the bow that a person should, could, and would paper tune. And not all bows are created equal, of course. This bow at the time was probably state-of-the-art, hot off the shelf, was probably the latest and greatest. They was beating this thing down like it was the newest thing that, you know, Bowtech, Hoyt, or Matthews came out with. And the same as it was with Bear in the 80s, in the 90s, you know, it was the same thing. Okay, we're going to talk about why this bow needs to be paper tuned. Well, for a lot of guys out there who don't know it, this bow was shot with fingers. It's got the single knock point. I used aluminum arrows with feather fletchings with a helical on it. It knocks up the same on the bottom of that. But one thing I want to point out is the difference is you notice the riser, for instance, okay? That riser is flat straight right there. Right where that arrow shaft is at, that riser is straight right down past the arrow rest. It is not set back whatsoever. Now you're going to look at this, and it's set up for finger shooters, so your arrow is actually sitting out to the left because I'm right-handed. And the reason that is it was set up like that to allow for some of the string twist when I draw the bow back, because it's natural for a person to draw the bow back and the string to twist. When fired, the string is going to want to return somewhat to its original state. It's going to cause a twist, and it could veer the arrow out, because if you look, that peep sight twists with this arrow knocked. Okay, now let's get a little close up and talk about this rest in particular and why we can and how we can paper tune this rest. This arrow rest is this is where the burger button came in at. You see this little button right here? That thing's spring loaded. That is a burger button. This is just a high-tech burger button rest is what it is. For the time, this thing was like state-of-the-art. You can see it's got a spring there, which is a big coil spring on the side. It has some forgiveness. That spring is spring-loaded in. You can see the threads. Now you can adjust the tension on the spring, make it either stiffer or lighter. Same thing goes over here by adjustments. There's a lot of adjustments there. You could actually screw in and screw out the burger button, allowing the arrow to be adjusted center. Not true center, but center enough that where a person could paper tune, if they were getting a tear, they could start to adjust this arrow rest inward or outward, whichever way that tear dictated, to get their bow lined up, or their arrow lined up to where they were aiming and be shooting the bullet holes. One of the cool things about this was Dan Fitzgerald, one time I'd seen him do this, he had always put his arrow down like that in the burger button, and it would lock on there. I mean, you can't pull it out hardly at all. It was kind of like a built-in arrow holder. You just had to remember when you got ready to shoot at something, you had to let it out and let it get back up on top. Okay, once again, we're going to talk about the later model bow. This bow is a couple of years old. It has what is like a real center shot. I mean, that is a real center shot cut riser. The arrow rest is able to line up directly behind the string of the bow to get that push. You start to think about something real quick. You hear what I just said? The string is directly behind the rest, behind the arrow. Your center shot is perfect. Those bows, you can't do it. That's why they have to paper tune. This one don't have to paper tune. If you got the string directly behind the arrow, directly in line with the rest, everything's splitting down the middle, dude, you can't get it. There's no reason you can mess it up. You're using a release with a D-loop. The torque's taking it away. You still got to have good form. It's more crucial with those than it is with this because we have all these pivoting places. We have machine stuff. You know, that's the big issues that happened. Those bows were all molded aluminum risers. This bow is a machined aluminum riser. When they started doing CNC machining, archery took a leaps and bounds. It's going crazy. You know, it's been going crazy for years. That is one of the reasons. That is the main reason why these bows don't have to be paper tuned. Because everything is designed on a computer. Everything is directly in line. I mean, they know when they're making this that this cam and this cam is going to line directly up at a certain point, which is going to be right here where the burger button hole is, to line up. It's going to be split the other way. You've got your center, everything center, center, and center, and center. So if all else fails when you're setting up your newer modern compound bows, go center. That's really easy. Okay, all you paper tuner fans, man, there's no offense to you. All you guys out there who've always sat here and fought and struggled with paper tuning, I hope this just lets you know. All you need to have is the tools to set this bow up. I use a center shot gauge. I use the RS levels. I can set that rest 100% every single time with those tools right there. No second guessing, no need to paper tune. I can set it up for you, give it to you. If a person has you, if a shop has you drop your bow off so they can paper tune it for you, or you put it in the mail and send it over to some guy and he paper tunes it for you, your bow cannot be paper tuned for you by someone else. It has to be paper tuned by you for you. And the reason is because if we're going back to the paper tuning, like you have an Allen bow, you have my 68 Allen, and you want to paper tune it, I have to have you there because my finger twist may be different than your finger twists on the string. You know, that's what I'm trying to say is whenever you draw it back, that is completely unique to you. That is like your fingerprint when you're a finger shooter. Not so much as a release shooter because of the fact that all you have to do is draw it back. There's no twisting of the string. Everything lines back up on the center. That's what I want to explain to you. So if you're paying somebody to paper tune your bow, you're wasting money. And honestly, they probably don't even know this because I have not figured this out, but a lot of the archery manufacturers, even Mathews, they have paper tuning sections on their forums and on their websites, and there's no need to paper tune, guys. Plain and simple. If you just want to shoot your bow and shoot a bunch of holes through paper, hey, that's cool. I like to shoot stuff. I guess that's what it's good for you. But this video, I hope, has helped kind of clarify and kind of blow that dust and the myth and everything. You know, I basically look at it like this. I think the myth is now shattered. A lot of guys out there are going to sit back and scratch their heads and think about this. And they're going to end up coming up to the fact that I'm not kidding you about it. It's the 100% the gospel, what I just told you. No need to paper tune unless you have an old bow with a flat, straight riser and one of those types of rests that I showed you on there. Those rests were designed to fit that type of riser. That's why they're on there. This is a drop-away center shot arrow rest. That's why it's on this bow. I don't put one of those on here, and this will not go on there because in order to get center shot, you'd be directly behind the riser. Well, I hope this video has helped clarify the paper tuning, guys, for you. I'm out of here. I've talked enough as it is. Thanks, and stay tuned. I'll catch you guys next time.